Hi guys, I'm just getting my bucket cleaned here behind me. And since many of you, when we were talking about the Blue Lagoon and the risk there, the late evacuations and all the stuff that they put the tourists through on a repeated way, because there's been like I think 7 evacuations so far. And since these eruptions always happen at night, people are in their beds, they're sleeping, the sirens go off, they see the red light out of the window, the eruption going, they feel the heat in the air, and they have to be emergency evacuated. And a lot of you guys have said, well, haven't they learned anything from White Island in New Zealand, the incident that happened there where 22 tourists lost their lives? And I haven't seen that being mentioned anywhere in Iceland, or that the officials there or that the Blue Lagoon would draw that comparison. But it seems it has been drawn, but not in relation to what's going on the Reykjanes Peninsula right now with the magma chamber that is underneath the Blue Lagoon. And from there, we've had quite a few eruptions and intrusions, and we've got one eruption going there as of right now. It's still going. It's been going on for 2 weeks. No, it has been mentioned by a volcanologist that we all know well by now if you're following my channel, because he's given his expertise many times about the current volcanic activity on the Reykjanes Peninsula, and his name is Thorvaldur Thorvaldsson. And by the way, he has destroyed that fence behind me many times. I still haven't repaired it. I've just tied it together a little bit, and I have installed an electric fence charger here. So if he tries to damage it again because he wants to get in there, hopefully it works, that they won't break through this one, because they just broke through my other fence to get in here, and they weren't supposed to be here because I need to do some work. So that, just on a side note, I have my escapees here, and yeah, now he's saying hi to you guys. So Thorvaldur Thorvaldsson, he has commented about Askja, and maybe you have seen my video that I released yesterday and the last week. I'll put them in the end screen. Askja, a volcanic caldera, a volcanic system, the most active volcano that we have in that area and we have in Iceland at the moment. This is a caldera where a lake has formed, a 217 meters deep lake. And that's why the experts are saying if this thing explodes again, it will be explosive. And it has been so in the past, over 100 years ago. And there have been eruptions since then. But now the magma chamber underneath is rising again. So it means something's going on there. And they already thought that this thing would go off last summer, last August, but it didn't. So now the land keeps rising there again. And we know what that means, because the land kept rising underneath Svartsengi and the Blue Lagoon before these eruptions happen. So whenever there's an eruption, it keeps rising again until it reaches the point of maximum elasticity, and then we see an eruption or a magma intrusion. So I'm out here doing my farm chores while I'm making that video. I have to change position a few times because the sun is just blinding me. And so yeah, guys, so what's going on with this? It's quite a remote volcano. So even the parking lot where the tourists go to sits right on top of the volcano. And from there, they have to walk about an hour to get to this caldera, to get to the crater, to see the lake. And that's the problem. There is no cell phone reception, so they wouldn't even be able to receive emergency text messages or phone calls should the experts measure an earthquake swarm or measure that something's going on, that an eruption is imminent. So what Arman Höskuldsson has said is, even if there is a 2 to 3 hours warning, it could be a disaster and many tourists could die. He said that because if there's tourist season, there could be several hundred people in the area. They're being driven there by tourist buses, by expedition tours. So this could be super dangerous, because if the eruption eruption is explosive. The particles, the magma particles, everything moves with about 100 kilometers per hour, and it can spread as far as 10 to 20 kilometers, because that's why the volcanologists said there is no escape, there is no running away, and that's a problem. And so last summer, around August, it really looked like that this thing is going to blow any time. And that's why Thorvaldur Thorvaldsson has said we should close this down. And then he made the connection with White Island. He said if we don't close it down, the same thing could happen here. You guys in the comment, you are comparing some situations in Iceland, especially the Blue Lagoon, who always refuses to close. Like when the scientists say the eruption is imminent, it could be a few hours, it could be a few days. The Blue Lagoon's not closing. It's trying to rake in the money till the last second. That's the feeling I get from this. It's my opinion, guys. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I know many of you feel the same way. And that's why you've made the comparisons. Can't the Blue Lagoon learn from White Island, where that tourist company kept bringing the tourists onto the island, despite warnings? And now it seems that Askja could be something like this. And at least one geologist is pointing this out and making this comparison. And I want to use that incident or that statement from Thorvaldur Thorvaldsson, and I want to tell you a little bit more about what happened in White Island, and then you can make your own conclusion and you can think, well, is this a similar situation? But one thing I think that we all can learn from this, if you're thinking you're going to a spa, you're going into a pool like the Blue Lagoon, it seems you have to make your own due diligence, because it's not on the website. The website just said all facilities are open. Read more. When they were open, they're closed now, thankfully, because this eruption is still going on. But it wasn't, if you click on read more, then after a while you could see, well, there's an eruption risk and there's earthquakes and stuff like this. But, you have to assess your own risk, and it seems do your due diligence. I mean, we know Iceland is the land of fire and ice, but I know a lot of people who trust like tourist organizations and think, well, the country will make sure that it's safe because it would hurt their tourism if it isn't, right? Well, I think you have to be really active and do the research yourself, and the horse agrees as well, guys. So yeah, let's look into White Island. I want to finish my farm work first, then I'll go inside, and then let's talk about this a little more. So the White Island disaster took place on December 9th in 2019 on the northern island of New Zealand, in the coast of eastern North Island to be exact. And there is an island that is located off that coast. It's called White Island, or in the native language, Vakahari. And the disaster that happened there has resulted in the death of 22 people, and it has injured numerous others that have been burned badly by ashes and magma that has been spilled around. So at the time of the eruption, 47 people were on that island. So adventure tourists and tour guides. That island is usually not habitated, so it was an uninhabited island that was open for tourist tours. Most of the visitors that were there on this island were from Australia, but some of them were from the United States, from Germany, New Zealand, China, and some other countries as well. And most of them were passengers on a cruise ship that had docked nearby and did allow them to go off the boat and do some sightseeing excursions. So while they were on that island, there was an eruption that was coming so quickly. There was no warning, and it lasted approximately only 2 minutes. And after that, every other visits and tourists' activities on this island were suspended in the aftermath of that tragedy. So that island, Vakahari, is situated in the Bay of Plenty. That's about 30 miles or 48 kilometers off the northeastern coast of North Island, New Zealand, and about 70% of that island is underwater, so you only see the tip of the island. It has numerous hot springs, geysers, and fumaroles, and it is part of the Ring of Fire. That's a seismically active belt of volcanoes and tectonic plate boundaries that roughly surrounds the Pacific Ocean. And you know, it's also on the west coast of Canada and the US. There's so many volcanoes and tectonic plate movements and earthquakes and stuff like this. So Whakaari White Island is a stratovolcano, and it began forming about 150,000 years ago. And James Cook already, who was exploring there, he sighted that island and he named the island in 1769. So a New Zealand businessman bought Whakaari, the White Island, in the 1930s, and in 1953 he allowed the government to designate it a private scenic reserve. And as such, the island then became accessible to tourists by boat from Tauranga and by helicopter. And in the late 20th century, Whakaari White Island became one of New Zealand's most active volcanoes. So isn't that crazy? It's one of the most active volcanoes, but it has the tourists there. So does that ring a bell when you think about Askja? It's one of the most active volcanoes, and the tourists, it's very remote there as well. So there are some parallel things, and we know the Reykjanes Peninsula has just woken up from an 800-year sleep. So that might be compared as well, like a tourist attraction on top of a volcano in the direct proximity of a volcano. So that's also the case in the Blue Lagoon. I mean, it's very close to the eruptions. If they hadn't built defense walls, the lava would have flown right in there. It has flown over evacuation roads, and it was fast flowing lava, in my opinion. You know, they're really testing their luck there as well. But let's get back to what's happening in White Island. But before we do that, me that was just outside has something else to tell you guys. But since we're in the middle of the video, guys, could you do all of us here a favor? No, don't say no. You have to say yes. You have to say yes. Please do. Ugh, he's not agreeing, but do us a favor. Leave this video a like so that the algorithm pushes it out a little bit more so that more people can see what we're doing here. Do you agree now, Aston? Okay, and happy Easter, by the way, to everyone. I hope you're having an awesome weekend. So thank you for liking the video and watch it till the end. There's more to come. Thank you, and back to the video. So it became one of New Zealand's most active volcanoes, and you might wonder why. Because it erupted almost continuously from 1975 to 2000, and then again in 2012 and in 2016. And the eruptions blew steam, gas, and mud and ash into the air and produced new craters, but did not result at these times in any human fatalities. Because the volcano was so active and tourists were allowed to visit, the scientists did monitor that island closely. So in 2019, a few weeks before Whakaari erupted, scientists noted heightened volcanic activity and they raised the alert level. However, they saw no indications that an eruption was imminent, but they raised the alert level. So now I think in hindsight, whenever scientists raise the alert level, maybe tourist attractions should run the course of better be safe than sorry, right? But it seems like in case of the Blue Lagoon, definitely they're not doing that. The eruption happens and then there's an evacuation. They're not evacuating the days before when the scientists are saying magma chambers full. And in the Swartsengi area, they can predicted better because we've just had so many eruptions and intrusions over the last few weeks since November 10th. And with this eruption too, they said the magma chamber's full. It has the same amount that it had when all the other events happened. So why not close down earlier? That is always my argument that I say. I don't want to bite myself into and bash this place continuously, but they're not changing anything. They're releasing press releases, just the last one after another emergency evacuation. This time they're like, yeah, we're trying to learn from it, we're doing the best we can, and we're just closely listening to the civil defense and the police chief. And what are you learning? I mean, how many last minute emergency evacuations do you need to do? That is what I criticize, and I will criticize this as long as this keeps going, because as we've seen on White Island, nobody thought that this could happen, right? So why did that all of a sudden spontaneous eruption occur? So the scientists say that the eruption probably occurred after water came in contact with hot magma in the core of the volcano. Most of it is underwater. You just see the tip that forms the island. And that has caused steam to form. And this steam could, at the beginning, it could not escape, which was building up pressure because there was so much debris and dirt that was covering the volcano. And you see, Askja is covered by a lake and by snow. And that's why if it erupts big, it'll be explosive as well. So eventually the pressure in that volcano, the steam pressure and everything became so great, guys, that the steam exploded, and that was massive. This shows how quickly this goes and how scary this is. The blast pushed rocks and toxic gases into the air with a plume of steam and ash rising. And the ash was rising very, very high, guys, about 12,000 feet. That is like 3,660 meters in height. And we have learned from the scientists, if Askja has an explosive volcanic eruption, which they think since last August is imminent, the plumes and the ashes and the particles will travel with a speed of 100 kilometers per hour, and they spread as far as up to 20 kilometers. And that's why the scientists are saying you can't outrun this. So the people that are there, that's the danger. And there might be even more people there than on White Island, because the scientists said if it's like the peak tourist season, there might be several hundred people in the area, and it's an hour walk from the parking lot to Askja. And that's why this is really, really dangerous, in my opinion. And Arman Höskuldsson and Thorvaldur Thorvaldsson share this opinion, and they have raised the concern. So now we have to see, will they do something now that the land keeps rising at Askja again? But let's get back to White Island, guys. I want to finish the story there. That disaster has plunged New Zealand into a state of mourning, as you can imagine. Amidst the sorrow, there were questions that were raised about this incident. I mean, there has been an outpouring of love and support, not just for the victims and their families, but for the community that had been affected by that tragedy. And that is beautiful. But it is both a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and of the capacity to come together in the face of a tragedy like this, but it also shows how powerful and unpredictable Mother Nature is. And if we think about White Island, it's so beautiful. It's the beauty, but it also represents this immense danger. And that's the same thing with Iceland. It's so stunningly beautiful, but it is also dangerous. And so that's why we should not forget the lessons that the White Island accident has taught us. I mean, let's hold on to the awe of nature, but also respect its power. And I feel that there's a little bit of a lack there in Iceland right now. I think they're surprised about everything that's going on there, but it has been going on since November 10th. And I know tourism is such an important industry there, but do you want anything like this to happen? That will hurt tourism very, very badly in the long run. I would rather go there if I feel they are better safe than sorry, and they say, don't go there right now. We show you something else. Beautiful waterfalls, beautiful geysers, something else. Don't go to the Blue Lagoon, go to the Sky Lagoon, don't go to some of these other hot springs. But let's be careful. And that's what's lacking there right now. That's how I feel. I don't see it. I don't see that tourists' lives are being put first. I see that their tourism industry is being put first. And I don't really like it, guys. What do you think? And I really think, especially since there's Easter now, we should remember the lives that were lost in this tragic incident. We should ensure that their stories are heard and inspire people around the globe to move forward with more awareness, more caution, and a deeper appreciation for the fragile beauty of this planet that we call our home. I don't know if you agree with me, guys. Let me know in the comments, but this is how I feel right now. So the question that I raised, are there parallels between the Blue Lagoon, Askja, and White Island? Because there was a warning for White Island, and then the tourist company decided to still keep going forward with their excursions there. And with Askja, we will have to see. And with the Blue Lagoon, well, we know how it's going. But what they have in common is like they're not closing down early enough. That's basically the conclusion that I can draw from that. And I don't have a feeling that the Blue Lagoon has learned anything from White Island. I think they're having their blinders. I'm having to do with horses, like the carriage horses with these blinders on, and they think it's totally safe, nothing can happen. But the scientists have said, of course, the highest probability is that the eruptions will keep happening in the Sudnuka crater series where they have been happening, and not right underneath the power plant or the Blue Lagoon. But the magma chamber is underneath there, and it's expanding and it's subsiding and expanding and subsiding, putting pressure there, so the crust can be damaged and brittle. And scientists said you can't rule out that there is the possibility of an eruption going straight up. But they said, yeah, they think it'll probably be a warning time of 5 to 7 hours. But can they really be sure? Because the eruption that we have right now, there was no warning time. So that's why I'm saying more awareness. If the magma chamber is full, it's to the limit, and that something will happen shortly, close it. And with Askja, I think, in my opinion, let me know, guys, what do you think? I mean, the scientists are scratching their head with this. The land rise kept going, then it slowed down, then it kept going. Should they just be careful and suspend all the excursions there while they really do not know what's happening there? In my personal opinion, I think so, because you can divert this to other places that are equally as stunning in Iceland, and then just be safe. So that is basically my conclusion, guys. I would love to hear your opinions. Let's discuss this as usual. And something else that I want to do, I want to make a shout out to a very special mom. Your daughter wrote me on my buymeacoffee.com site and bought me 3 coffees. Thank you so much for that, for the support you're giving me there for my farm. And it was beautiful. It touched my heart when I wrote what you said. You said, each day I call my mom and we have our silky talk. We silkies are addicted to you. Happy Easter. Much love. Thank you so much. And hi, Mom. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, hi, daughter. Thank you for your support. It is beautiful to see. And the time between moms and daughters and sons or fathers. It should be cherished, but it is close to my heart. I lost my mom quite early, and so of course I miss her, especially on holidays like this, and I used to do that with her. That's why enjoy it and cherish every minute. It's so important. And of course, you know, I want to give a shout out to every one of you, and I want to tell you I'm a little bit late answering your comments because this volcano keeps me busy. Making these videos at the moment, it's about 6 to 8 hours per day that I'm spending for these videos, because I'm doing 2 per day, and then there's the farm, and then there's my other jobs as well. So I'm trying to keep that, but I'm reading your comments. I'm reading a lot of your comments before I go to sleep. I'm lying in bed, I'm reading. I'm just not typing that much. But I also want to shout out to someone else who keeps buying me coffees there on my site, Glenn. Thank you so much for your support. I hope you have a wonderful Easter. And yeah, Glenn, you're talking about my rubber band theory. It's true, right? I was really the first one who started this. Because yeah, you're right. I really thought this explains it well. And that was what I had at hand at that time. And rubber really behaves like that magma chamber, that if it reaches the point of maximum elasticity, I'm explaining this for you guys if you don't know what I'm talking about. You know, you can stretch it only as far, and then it slows down the way of you can stretch it, and then it slows down and then it breaks. And that's the same with volcanic eruptions if you see a land rise. So thank you, Glenn, for your best wishes. And yeah, it will be interesting where all that will take me. And I hope you come along the way, like all of you guys. Thank you for coming along the way and for commenting and for supporting my channel. I can't just say it often enough. And I want to start. I also said I'll start to answer some of your questions that you're giving me underneath my YouTube videos as comments or on my Buy Me a Coffee site. I want to start answering these questions, or, you know, answer some of your comments, and so that we can engage with each other, because doing a live, we have so many viewers from all over the world in different time zones. I don't think it would work, and it's difficult for me. I really can't make appointments right now, and because I don't know where I am. There's something going on with some animal, or some volcano erupts, or I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. I'm hustling a lot right now, so it's difficult for me to, and I don't want you guys to get up in the middle of the night for a live, you know, but I know some of you are night owls like myself as well. So we will see, and in the meantime, I'm doing that, and some of you said that you like that, and I like it. It's like we're speaking with each other. And Lee, thank you for the coffees. It really helps a lot. And happy Easter to you too. And it's kind of great to know that you wake up in the morning and you're on a patio in southern Arizona. I just imagine how cool is that, especially while it's still cold everywhere else. Awesome. Enjoy that. And thanks for letting me know. It's just really, I read your comment and I'm like, I really visualized that. And it is very, very cool. So thanks for that. And carry a bag, of course. Hey, thank you so much that you're there. And to all of you, thank you so much. You'll receive messages from me very, very soon. And thank you for your supers that you're giving me on YouTube. You guys are absolutely awesome. And happy Easter to all of you. And I hope I see you very, very soon. I hope everything around you is peaceful, that you're safe, that you're happy, that you're healthy, and that your loved ones are the same. My heart goes out to you guys. I appreciate you so much, and I'm so grateful that you guys make this channel possible and have brought this channel so far. I mean, over 31,000 subscribers, guys. It was beyond my wildest dreams when I started YouTube as a YouTube newbie, having no clue. And it's still new for me, but the community is just amazing. I mean, there are a few weirdos. We see them in the comments, but I don't really care. What I care about is you guys. There have to be some grumpy people that probably have a sad life. So, you know, I hope their life turns around for the better so that they can focus on being happy and doing something productive in their life instead of, you know, arguing with others or, you know, talking BS. It's Easter. I hope the world will be more peaceful a little bit. I mean, it's crazy what is going on right now, and the more beautiful it is to talk to people from all over the world who are having coffee with me. And guys, I see you very soon. And if you're new here, I would love for you to join our coffee community with some people that are having something else, right, Scott? And tea community as well, and whatever you like to drink or eat. It's just great having that together and having a morning or afternoon or evening chat with you guys. So I hope all is well. I see you very, very soon, guys. Bye bye.